Why are so many people from Peter Parker's life coming back from the dead? Well, let's hop into the pages of Amazing Spider-Man issue number 62, the beginning of the Chameleon Conspiracy, and find out together, shall we? Alrighty then, so as the comic opens up, we're in Symkaria, the home of Silver Sable, and also a secret black site prison wherein the American government sends their undesirables to be tortured without breaking the Geneva Convention. It's funny because the American government actually does this. Why do you think Guantanamo Bay isn't actually on American soil? Oops, did I get too real for a second? Currently, the number one prisoner here is the Chameleon, but he's got company right now, Teresa Parker, who has a lot of unfinished business with Dimitri. Chameleon had killed her partner and lover, a man named David, and the only reason she was able to stay her hand on avenging him was because her brother Peter was there to stop her. Though Chameleon himself wonders if that's really why Teresa is here right now. Again, if you know your comic lore, this character has had, let's just call it a complicated one, and perhaps deep down in her heart of hearts she's always wondered if she truly is the daughter of the Parker family or if there's something much more complicated going on. In fact, Chameleon, apropos of almost nothing, shares a famous story from Spider-Man history. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but Harry Osborn, under the guise of the Green Goblin, hired the Chameleon to create two life-model decoy robots to trick Peter into thinking his parents were back to life. But more on all of this in a minute. From there, we transition on over to Peter, who is shocked and surprised to see Betty Brant not only roll back into his life after a long absence, but to also be pregnant. Betty says that she's back in town with some major leads that are going to help put the Daily Bugle back on the map. When the subject gets broached of who the father of this child is, well, let's just say Pete is pretty damn surprised to hear Betty say that it was his old friend Ned Leeds. But wait, that can't possibly be true, right? Ned Leeds died, and then the Jackal cloned him, and then the clone seemingly died, only for Peter to run into the clone again not too long ago and have it die in a battle between Taskmaster and Blackhand. Peter never actually told Betty that last part, and now his stomach is absolutely in knots over what to do next. Say, hey, the guy who got you pregnant, the guy who you thought was the love of your life, might not be. Again, even as a superhero, there's no easy way to have that conversation, so Peter just kind of chooses not to for a while. And if I may play Mephisto's advocate here for a moment, it's not like Peter doesn't have enough on his plate as it is, like his job at ESU, where him and his partner Jaime were working on a future-telling vice called the Clairvoyant. Yeah, remember this subplot? I know it feels like years since we've actually gone back to it, but here we go. Jaime and Peter have themselves a big fallout fight once they realize that there's no way to power the device anymore. Furthermore, Peter is becoming greatly suspicious of what Jaime is using the device for off hours, and obviously if you've been paying attention, you know that he's been using it to gamble at the supervillain casino. Though as this issue goes out of its way to explain, Jaime didn't do it for completely selfish reasons. He actually has a young sister and a sick mother on dialysis who could really use the extra money. Unfortunately, you don't gamble at supervillain casinos for too long until it ends up coming to bite you in the ass again. Chance, the guy who was running the show, ends up tracking him down. He knows that Jaime was cheating and he wants in on the deal too. In fact, he even threatens Jaime's family if he doesn't let him use the Clairvoyant device. But as we discover, Chance is really only a middleman for the Foreigner and Silver Sable. Chance may actually end up having a solution, though, for Jaime's power source problem. You remember several arcs back when the Lethal Legion tried to steal an experimental power source called the Catalyst? Well, Chance suggests they go and steal it, which would end up solving Jaime's power source problem, but unfortunately means that he's also going to be getting into bed with a bunch of murderous supervillains. Now, when Peter finally works up the courage to break Betty's heart about Ned, he's shocked and surprised to actually find Ned clean as a whistle sitting inside her apartment. Maybe he truly is back from the dead. I mean, this is the Marvel Universe, and it's not like people get over their bad cases of dead all the time. Maybe this is one of those, or maybe it's something a lot more sinister. Now, as the comic starts to wind down, we check back on in with Teresa and the Chameleon. Dimitri says that if Teresa really wants answers about her parents and her life, why ask him when she could ask someone else? Someone like Carl the Finisher, aka the professional assassin who actually pulled the trigger on the Parker family at the behest of the Red Skull all those years ago. But wait, he should be dead too, shouldn't he? And so that was Amazing Spider-Man issue number 62, everybody, and I'll say for what it's worth, the first part of Chameleon Conspiracy is definitely living up to that title. We have several old Spider-Man characters all seemingly return under mysterious circumstances, and no one really knows what their deal is yet. Could they be clones? Could Kindred have brought them back to life the same way he seemingly did the Sin Eater? Are they more advanced Chameleon-style LMDs like the story he referenced? I don't know, and I get the feeling that's what Spencer wants us to think going into this story, knowing full well that anyone could be a fake. I know when it comes to the matter of Peter Parker's mother and father, it's a bit of a contentious subject. I know myself have mentioned several times before that I really don't care what the hell the Parkers were doing as secret agents, because none of it has ever really had any impact on Spider-Man's life. But Teresa clearly seems to care. This is clearly more her character journey, and because Peter cares so much about her, surely whatever she ends up finding out will affect him, as she is one of his only pieces of family left. I guess it's refreshing too to see the stuff with Jaime and the Clairvoyant come back after being put on the back burner for so long, and then to be reminded of the catalyst, almost like Nick Spencer is doing a little end zone dance and saying, look, see, I didn't forget about these, all of these things are connected, I promise. Only time will tell where all of this ends up going. For what it's worth, I'd feel comfortable giving this issue a 7.5 out of 10. I'm just intrigued enough to be invested to see where it goes. Even if I am just a little cautiously optimistic when it comes to matters of the Parkers, as I feel every time they're brought up it only ends up muddying the waters of Spider-Man even more. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.